Hey, what's going on, sports creators? This is Ron. I am coming to you from YouTube. In today's tutorial, we're going to be going over how to cut out subjects from your sports images to make sports posters. Um, of course, this is for beginners. If you're advanced, you may not want to see this video, but I am creating this video in regards to those who want to learn how to create sports posters, those who may not be technically inclined to know Photoshop and they want to learn. We will be primarily using Photoshop throughout all these videos that I will be showing you with the process and everything that I'm basically doing. Um, will be primarily Photoshop and Photoshop based. So um, let's get into it. This is actually a photo that I took. This is Jack Drury from the Chicago Wolves. He is actually uh, he's a Calder Cup champion. I shoot a lot of hockey primarily. It's one of my favorite sports to capture. It's primarily a lot of the stuff I do is hockey based, so I'm going to be using a lot of hockey um, images throughout my videos because that's just primarily what I'm adapted to. That's my niche. Some of you, the same process that I do and I do for all the pictures, taking objects out and everything. It's the same process that can be applied to other images as well. Doesn't necessarily have to be hockey, but um, choose a sport that you enjoy photographing and you want to make posters for. I feel like with being in a certain niche, it's a lot easier, but that's just me. So anyway, we're gonna get into it. Today's video, I'm gonna go over the quick selection tool. Now, depending on how the first video goes, you guys let me know if you want to see other tools that you can use to cut out objects. The quick selection tool is mostly used a majority of the time. A majority of everyone uses it. I should say. It's used to first of all, it's quick. You can get a lot done with it. There's more, like, you can get basically before I use the quick selection tool. It took me forever to get images, um, basically just to get my objects cut out, copied, paste. It would take me about, like, I would say 15 minutes just to do one um, subject, but with the quick selection tool, it takes me about like 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes at the most, depending on how difficult your image is. But um, in this case, I'm going to go slow. I'm going to explain, my settings and or should I say settings, the tools I'm using, the different what I'm using as far as like the display and all that. So let's get into it. We're gonna start off taking Jack out of this image, or should I say, we're gonna isolate from the background. We're gonna take the background out. We're gonna make basically him just the main subject. We're gonna have a transparent background. So yeah. So what you're gonna first do, you want to get your layers palette out. If you don't see this, I strongly recommend go up to Window and Layers. You can also use shortcut key, which is F7. I'm not using shortcut keys in regards to those who want to learn. Um, I I don't always use shortcut keys. I just like doing things the old school way. But that's just me. So we're gonna start. Now I want to apply a layer mask to this, or to this image. So what I want to do is I'm gonna go up to Layer, Layer Mask, Reveal All. Now notice you'll see a layer mask thumbnail. Now, this is it, when by default it should be selected on the layer mask thumbnail, not on the image. Um, so you want to make sure, and also too, like if you notice up here, the layer settings will change. So it says layer 0 RGB. RGB is a color mode. I will go over color modes in another video. Um, so notice how it changes. It'll let you know if you're lit on the layer mask. So this is layer 0. Notice it changed from RGB to layer mask. So in this case, we're on layer mask. Now, don't mind like the when I zoom in, I have like the photo likes to, for some reason, I don't know why it does that, but um, we're gonna start now. Now that I have my layer mask, I want to make sure that I click on the actual layer thumbnail, which is the photo itself. So now I'm on the photo itself. I'm gonna go over to my basically my I call it toolbox, but it's pretty much your tool presets, your tools. Um, and if you don't see this, and if you can't pop it up, go up to Window, and you're going to click on Tools. Now, I click on Tools. Obviously, it goes away, but if you go back up to Window, you're going to click on Tools. Obviously, it'll reappear. Now, there's also different like workspaces, essentials. It's by default we're working in essentials. Um, Extensions, we don't obviously have to worry about that, but so I'm gonna go into my toolbox, I call it. We're gonna use the quick selection tool. Now, by default, it usually comes onto the plus. This is the add to selection. So we're going to add a quick selection to our object that we're trying to cut out. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to start off, I use a size 50. I think that's the uh, a perfect size to start off on. Also, make sure that your brush hardness or your quick selection hardness is at 100%. Any soft, I mean, I really don't use soft, so I don't really know how that would do, but make sure your quick selection is on hard, but feel free to use. I would just use a standard brush. Don't use anything fancy. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna, whoops, yeah, standard, yeah, sorry, I was actually in the brush palette for some reason. Um, so make sure that your quick selection is on, same thing, make sure it's on uh, hardness, your size is 50. Spacing can be, I mean, 25%. I don't really mess with the spacing. So, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to start clicking. Notice how it just automatically goes around the subject. See, look at that. That's really. Now, I'm going to start going around the subject. If obviously the subject is not going to, you know, we're going to have to. We're gonna have to go back and fix some things, which that's fine. Um, but I'm just gonna go around. I'm just going around the subject. I just do one click, close to the edges that I want it. I want my subject to basically. I want to make sure that my edges are selected around to the subject to where I'm going to cut it out. Um, and see, look, see, this is what I'm saying. It takes so much. It takes less time to do this because of the quick selection tool. Notice how like when I push down that first time, automatically you could see everything is almost selected except for the inside. But notice like the dancing dots that or the dancing ants I should say. That's what a lot of designers call the little selection um, dashes, I guess you could say. But notice how it's like all selected. So that's what we want. You want to make sure that your edges, the edges are clean. Um, Sometimes, like what I'll do for the photo, like I'll go to my filters palette and I'll do sharpen. Sometimes just depending on the photo, um, just because I want to make sure that the edges are really crisp and sharp, and when I apply the quick selection, it'll automatically go on the basically the edge of the photo that I want to cut out on. So I'm gonna do one half, like the half of the image, and I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna fix. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna minus or delete, um, or I guess you could say subtract some of the uh, quick selection from the object. Now, if you go into your quick selection tool, you're going to go up and you see you got a plus and then you got a minus. Now you're going to click that minus quick selection, subtract from selection. That's what you want, and you're going to go and you're going to just start trying to form outside um, of the area that you want. See, so now my selection that I have now. See, notice like now you can see the selection that you have. It's not no longer within the photo. You actually deleted some of the quick selection for the image, and now it's like all pretty much selected on the outer part of your object that you want to cut out on. So I'm just gonna continue to do this. I'm just gonna go back, look, see what other areas that we have to work on. Like right here, this needs to be fixed, and it's really simple. Using the quick selection tool, I didn't like it at first, but it actually makes things so much easier. Especially like if you have a deadline, um, and the client is actually asking for the the file, or for you to create a poster, say, within a certain time. Sometimes they'll want you to create it on the same day. Sometimes, you have some time, but this saves so much time, especially if you're going to be doing multiple posters at once. Um, Oops, I had. Um, Let me go backwards. So, so yeah, here is I'm just deleting any kind of or subtracting any kind of quick selection from that now. Oh, and I'm also gonna go. I'm gonna do the inside. See now, that's just really simple. Like I just had to do one click and it automatically, selects it from there. Um, I'm just gonna make sure that his glove is not affected by the quick selection. So we got half of our image is now quick selected. Um, I'm gonna now when we did the layer mask in the beginning, this is where the mask is gonna come in. Now you're gonna go into your official tool brush, basically the brush tool, and you're gonna. I usually it doesn't matter what size, but the bigger the size is, the more that you can take out and subtract from um, the image background, so that way it can be transparent. So I'm gonna go over this now. Make sure when you're on this, you want to make sure that you're on the layer mask thumbnail and that your fill for your brush is black. So set your foreground color to black and make sure that the white is behind it, because if you don't have it on white, or if you don't have it on black, it's not gonna work. So see my fill is white, you're not gonna be able to see the transparent background. Now I'm going to switch to black, and you're going to see, you know, what I'm talking about. So you're going to go over your image. See, now notice the background. That's your transparent background. This is what you want to see. This is what you want in the image. Now, um, now say if I used like white for this because you don't want to use white. Now, white is to add parts of the image back. So say if like I wanted to add like this part back, see now the image reappears because the basically the mask you're using the white I this is how I think of it. The white is to add part of the image back or part of what you're wanting to add back to your subject or the image. Black is to take out. So I go back, I'm going to take out this, and this is why I said to use a layer mask, because if you don't use a layer mask, you can't go back and add anything back to the image or take it out or like basically tweak it, because if you just automatically cut it out, well then some of the pieces or some of the things that you're wanting to add back to the image you can't because you're not using mask uh, the mask the layer mask. So it helps in that regards. I'm just gonna now I'm gonna go back. Now notice like the you're still selected on your image. You got the quick selection dots still going around. What I like to do is just click it. You just click your mouse and they automatically go away. Or you can just you can also go up here to the rectangular marquee tool and just do it like that too. Um, and then I'm gonna just freehand take out the rest of this image on this side. Take out my logo. Um, so now we come on to the next side of the image. I'm going to do the skates by hand. Basically, I'll show you. I'm gonna take my um, basically my brush. I'm gonna go over this. Now this would be easier if you had a graphics tablet. I'm not using graphics tablet today for this tutorial um, because I personally I feel like it's not needed. But if you're wondering about graphics tablets, feel free to let me know. I can point you in the right direction of what to buy. You don't need something so crazy. Um, it, especially for beginners, you don't need something so crazy. Trust me, it's not like we're painting or anything or digital painting. We're basically just cutting out subjects from um, the background. So um, I'm just gonna finish taking the background out from the skates. And like I said, you can use this with any sport. It doesn't, obviously, I'm just doing hockey because hockey is my favorite sport. You don't have to obviously follow the same, you don't have to find hockey images. And that's another thing I'm going to make a video on too, is about finding images. Any image that you use from Google, be sure that when you're using images from Google, that you know you're not selling these posters in any way, because those images are basically copyright and also licensed by NHL photographers or any kind of photographers that are working within the leagues. Um, so be sure that you're not stealing them and then also basically reselling them, or even selling any kind of posters with those on there unless you pay for them. But even then, there's restrictions. So I'm gonna what I'm doing here is I'm gonna take I'm using a lasso tool. So basically, it's a polygonal lasso tool. This is in your settings over here. It looks like almost like a paper boat or a paper hat. Basically, it's the second one below the lasso tool, and I'm just trying to get a sharp edge, or basically a sharp line point of taking the stick out. I feel like that it's the better way of doing it, like manually, and doing the same thing on the other side. And then obviously the quick selection tool, I'll do it. I'll take the shaft out, so I'm not really worried about that. I'm just gonna go around that. Just taking that out. So yeah, it's coming along. We got the skates. I'm gonna actually use my brush again to take out this background. I was shooting out from the ice down, so that's why that's pretty much glass from the area. Um, I'm not gonna do all this manually, but yeah. So the background is coming off. It's coming along nicely. I'm gonna go back into my quick selection tool, and I'm gonna put it on plus. So basically, um, you know, add add to selection. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to, whoops, um, I'm going to start applying my selection. So now we got more. I don't know why it does that. Um, now I'm gonna select my subtract from selection, or sub selection, yes. Um, I'm gonna start to minus um, certain things, like you can leave in it. I mean, from the helmet strap, it's details that you don't really have to include. But for me personally, it doesn't really matter. But for this case, I'm gonna bring my size down. There we go. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna leave it like that. That's fine. Um, so got my quick selection. Now I gotta work on the helmet. Um, oops. I gotta work on the helmet. Bring this back up to 50. We're gonna, I don't know why it did that. So we're gonna, I'm just going around it, guys. I'm not really doing too much to it. The easier the background is. Like some images, like I have no problem getting out. Some images, it's gonna give you a hard time. So, okay. Alright, I think that's pretty good on that. So now I'm going to go back. I'm going to use my brush again. And just brush out the background. Okay. It's coming along. Let's see, now we only got pretty much the stick, a little bit down here. After the brush, I'm going to go back to my quick selection. Start selecting this. Don't know why it keeps doing that. That's so annoying. So Whoops. All right. So think of this as like you're you're basically like you're in a way this is kind of like telling the tool or the brush or the quick selection tool, you know, automatically select this area for me to cut out. Um, so now that we got that part, I'm going to take this out. Right, it's coming along nice. Take that one part out. And then in the end, when we're done with this, I'm going to show you a little trick, a little tip that I personally um, I do to make sure that we have all the areas cut out, that there's no sort of thing left behind, anything left behind from the image in the background. So see, we got majority of the image cut out. Like it looks good. Um, I'm just gonna go back and look at the details. So something like this, I could use this quick selection tool, but I'm just gonna use my brush, and I'm just gonna go in there and you know, steady hand. Um, Take that out, then go over this. And then in here, I'm going to readjust my brush again, make it a 3 point. I'm just going to go in here. Details matter. Um, you know, especially like I've seen people, they forget to mask out a helmet, or they forgot to mask out like certain things. Those details matter when you're doing posters, guys. It's not something that, I mean, people are gonna notice. Um, so so yeah, there we go. Our player is basically our subject is out from the background. What I'm gonna show you next is a little trick. Um, so I'm gonna create another video on layers, but um, if you right click on the layer, um, if you right click on the layer, oh wait, no, sorry. If you go up to layer, and then you're gonna go to new, and then click on new layer. You're gonna click OK. Now there's another layer that should be popping up. It's transparent. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna come over here to your tools. You're gonna click on the tool bucket, or the paint bucket. Sorry. And then you're gonna have your fill. Your fill is gonna be like a bright color. So I'm gonna use red. Whoops. Make sure that you take the layer that you have above your subject, and you're gonna drag that below. Now this is where you can see like any type of sort of flaws that you have to take on from the image. Like, see, there's little dots and specks here. You want to make sure those are clean and taken out. You don't want to leave those there, because then obviously any kind of um, any kind of image that you're working with, you don't want to leave those. Um, I'm gonna There's a little bit of, so notice a little bit of, like I said, this is not the greatest image. Um, you know, don't. It's just something that I had quick and easy for. Um, so yeah, for pretty much the most part, it's our subject is done. Um, I'm just gonna clean up this a little bit with my brush. Um, yeah. So our subject is taken out from the background. Um, this is, basically the first video that I wanted to show you guys that how to take an image or your subject out from the background of the photo. Um, this applies with all sports. My next video I'm gonna do is gonna be about layers, and also, um, you know, proper, I guess, like using proper images for using for sports posters. There's quite a bit of videos I do want to cover, as well as what you guys suggest. So I definitely like for you guys to suggest any videos, um, especially those who are beginners to Photoshop and sports graphics and sports design. Um, once we start on the basics, we start moving up. That's when the real fun begins. But don't get discouraged. It's just learn from your mistakes. Go back. Um, you know, try to practice more with the tool. It's a lot better once you start. You producing a better either better images, and especially if you get better images, it usually becomes easier as time goes on. But this is the first video I wanted to showcase, and the next video I will, um, like I said, more videos will be coming out. But in the meantime, uh, click like, subscribe, share, um, and yeah, I will, and also get notified of any videos I put out um, after this one. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you guys again soon.